Can we talk about Jota, though? Every time Jota comes on, he makes a difference. And I just think he needs to start getting the credit he deserves.
Especially for the disguise and the brilliance of the feinted shot for his second goal. I want to start with something serious. It's not for the first time. We've discussed this before. There's been a couple of racist incidents with players reporting hearing monkey noises coming from a section of the crowd, both in Italy and also in England at Coventry. At midfielder Casey Palmer, he said he received similar abuse as well at Hillsborough on another occasion. And the other one was Stephen Mannion, the goalkeeper at Milan, who heard monkey chants early on. We've had this before, and I'm very wary here, Micah, of just going, right, we've got a black person on our podcast, because I imagine it's incredibly wearisome that as soon as there's an issue, that media, that I'm sure there's you get lots of calls, people saying, we want your view.
I've literally had about 10 emails and 10 calls saying absolutely spot on, Gary. And I understand why, because if someone who's felt it maybe has got a better example that they could give and a little bit of insight to what that feels like. But yeah, I think the wider point is everyone should speak about it, even if it makes them uncomfortable in terms of what's right and wrong. So I appreciate you saying that. I
think for Alan and myself, it's hard probably to actually understand how it must feel. It's something that really irritates me, actually, because obviously I'm known to speak politically occasionally, particularly for people like refugees, etc., and those sort of things, that they tend to get vilified, and it's often, I think, probably because of the colour of their skin. I find it incredibly awful and abhorrent that people are judged by the colour of their skin on occasions by other people. It doesn't happen to us as white people. I think football, in terms of internally, the dressing rooms are probably a beacon of hope in the sense of the harmonious nature of dressing rooms, where you'll get black people, you get white people, you'll get people with brown skin, you'll get Muslims, you'll get Hindus, you'll get Christians, you'll get Catholics, you'll get all sorts of religions, and nobody in those dressing rooms thinks that way. They just think, he's a good player, he's a winger, he'll cross the ball for me, he'll defend really well. And I find it incredibly difficult that people can make a judgment on someone by the colour of the skin, because we're all the same. We're human beings. We're all the same. You wouldn't look at like some dogs walking down the road and go, "Oh, I don't like that one because it's black. Or I don't like that one because it's white." It just makes absolutely zero sense. But the problem is, it does happen in football stadiums where there are large gatherings of people, and within those large gatherings, you will have, I hope, a tiny percentage of racist people. And what does football do with it? We talked about, how bad it is and that sort of thing on occasions, but what is the answer? And obviously you hope it's education. We've got I think hopefully the young people that are growing are better educated towards it, but children are not born racist. It comes from somewhere, and their influences as they grow up. So that's an important thing. But, people talk, don't they? Oh, this young generation, they're all a bit woke now. They're all a little bit, they care too much. They've got a social conscience, as though it's a bad thing. I apologise for getting slightly political on this, but it's something that, when we look for the answers, if you've got people saying that that's a bad thing, it really isn't a bad thing. We know that, and it's the future that we're looking for, that we're all treated in the same way. But what does football do? Let me tell you what the president of FIFA, Gianni Infantino, has had to say. He said football racist abuse should trigger automatic match forfeits after abhorrent incidents. He is the president of FIFA, so perhaps he could actually do something about that. What are your thoughts, Alan?
Footballers have to walk off.
and be supported by their whole team and the opposition team.
If they walk off and stay off, they will without doubt be supported and without doubt be the right thing to do. And if they don't feel as if they want to come back on, they don't have to come back on, and they still have to be supported. And if they want to stay off the football pitch to make a point.
I just believe with the whole racism thing, if you get racially abused, and there's been a couple of incidences in the past where the whole country will be fined 20,000 or 40,000, and we can't generalise, a whole country. That's what we can't do. Not everyone was being racist within the crowd, but these people need to be made an example of how to treat people. That is the point. And what happens if you do something within life and you get a slap on the wrist? You will continue to do the same things. If you give people proper punishments and countries getting fined proper money, then they will invest the time to eradicate or try to help the problem. Look, we're not going to eradicate racism. We know people have got their views in the world and we're not going to change that. But what we can do is speak out about the differences and have the education for people to understand why it's not right. And I think that is the key. And if you get a fine, which is 20 grand to a whole company, it's not doing anything. We need real punishments.
Yeah, I've spoken many times with Ian Wright about this as well, Micah, and he's applauded the solidarity in the Milan side and urged teams to keep walking off when they hear abuse and called for stronger sanctions like we are. He wrote on X, we did playing through it and nothing has changed. Points deductions are needed. The fines are pointless. Things will never change as they are.
The sad thing is, when I was growing up, and it's crazy because all through my professional career, I'd never been racially abused. I only got racially abused when I was younger. So I'm talking from a younger age. But what used to be said to us is like, oh, go and score a goal or go play well. That'll show them. But that's not changing anything. So when people say, oh, words, they can't affect you, I just feel it's like a outdated version of events. Like, we're living in 2024 and surely we can do something more than just say, turn the other way. And that's the thing. And I don't want to make myself like a victim, and people call me, well, we're having a serious conversation, as grown-ups, how can we make this better? Not talking about, oh, well, this happened to me with that. Well, it did. I deal with it in different ways. And 10 years ago, I would have dealt with it completely different. I'm older, wiser, and maturer to just speak to these people and try and change their way of thinking or ask them why they actually think that way,
There's no doubt about it that if players walked off and stayed off, they would get all the support of their team. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. And I know I haven't been in the dressing room for years, but I spent time in the dressing room for years, and I know how players are, I know how they operate, and without doubt, if anyone decided to walk off and stay off, they would have the support of the whole of the dressing room and the manager and coaches and everything. There's no doubt about that.
I think generally things have improved. I think the incidents are not as frequent, certainly, as they were when I played. I mean, there weren't that many black players playing when I played, but I played with John Barnes. We saw, seems absolutely absurd, but bananas thrown on the pitch. I sat next to John Barnes on an aeroplane going to an England game. In those days, not like now when they all fly in private jets and stuff. In those days, you just flew regular airlines to matches. And I remember two England fans, supposed England fans, coming down the plane and saying, you should never be allowed in an England shirt, to John Barnes.
Wow.
And,
wow.
It was wow. It was wow. And I can't tell you how, I probably should say the reaction of his teammates, and it would be exactly what you'd expect.
Absolutely.
There was some abuse said to them and get back to the back of the plane. So where do we go from here? I think what it is, as you quite rightly say, we need to keep talking about it. You need the players to keep addressing it. We've seen Vinicius Junior, haven't we? Keep walking off the pitch, and it's about awareness. I mean, it's very easy for people to say, "Oh, it's it's just name." People shout things at you from the touchlines anyway. Just get on with it. We can't know exactly how it must feel when you get that belittling racism thrown at you. As white people, we don't get that. So, it's like people say, "Oh, they're still taking the knee, are they? Why are they doing that?" That sort of thing. And until people actually eradicate this issue, then there's going to be a need to keep addressing it, unfortunately.
The fact that we're in media, I've had a decent career, I get treated with love from all around the world. But I'm Micah Richards in the media. What about the normal person who's walking the street? If players who are getting racially abused are playing for, KC Palmer, for example, in the second league of English football, second tier of English football, that's a bit which I can't really comprehend. I can only talk from my experiences, so I can't tell you how the normal man in the street felt, apart from when I was going back years ago when I used to get racially abused. So I know what they feel like, and it disheartens me that someone could think less of you just because of the colour of your skin, it's just strange to me when the country has done so many good things, but still we're having this issue with talking about this right now, it's quite hard to fathom,
Absolutely. I mean, I've had conversations with Ian Wright about this, and, he gets stopped in his car every now and again by police. I've never been stopped by. I can't recall being stopped by the police just on apart from maybe speeding when I was about 25 or something for legitimate reasons. I was talking to my ex Danielle just recently. She said she was in a store in a shop, and she said the security guy was following this black woman around, and she said to her, "Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?" She said, "Because she's suspicious." And that kind of thing, that's that daily, even if it's a subconscious racism, which not that subconscious if you ask me, but those sort of things go on. I just think football in itself sets a great example. The players set a great example. And I think they should continue to speak out. They should continue to walk off and continue to try and make a difference that hopefully eventually will be reflected on society. Shall we talk about some football?
Come on then.
We should probably start with Liverpool. 5 points clear at the top. Pretty impressive 4-0 away win at Bournemouth. A couple of goals and assists for Jota. Good, weren't they?
Wasn't a great first half, but again, I mean, their strength in terms of forward positions, even without Salah, they're so strong in that position. One off, one on. Goals, they're not going away anytime soon. And City get a good result last weekend. Arsenal get a good result yesterday. So it was over to Liverpool. What can you do? Because the way Bournemouth are playing, and everyone sort of looked at that and thought, tough game for Liverpool going to Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Second half, they were magnificent.
What can we talk about Jota though? Or Jota, is that how we're saying it? Jota,
isn't it?
Jota, yeah. Well, Jota. I just want to make sure.
It's Portuguese, isn't he?
It's Portuguese, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Jota, I'd imagine.
Jota.
I tell you what, when you see the written Portuguese to actually how it's spoken, I absolutely haven't got a clue.
Micah, Jota.
If he was if he was
Jota.
It's Jota.
If he was Spanish, he'd be Jota. He's hotter than most at the moment, that's for sure.
On a serious note, we talk about Salah so many times, but every time Jota comes on, he makes a difference. Whether he starts, he makes a difference. And yes, with Salah and what he does, rightly so, we give him all the accolades, but he's unbelievable. He can play left, he can play right, he can play centre, he can drop into positions. He never moans, he works hard. He's got absolutely everything for this team. Every time I'm looking at Liverpool, I'm thinking, Núñez, okay. Jota, all right. What they're going to do without Salah? Diaz has not been the same level as maybe last season. And then second half, he just turned the screw.
They've got some depth up top, haven't they?
Yeah, but it's all right having depth, but doing it with in the vital moments because anyone can score. Say if Bournemouth had scored 2 and Jota had scored. Anyone can do that when there's no pressure. He's doing it and assisting when there's pressure on him. His assist for Núñez's goal was marvellous. One touch, beautiful team goal. And I just think he needs to start getting the credit he deserves because he's a fantastic player, really is.
Especially for the disguise and the brilliance of the feinted shot for his second goal. For those of you who didn't see it, he had an absolute miss kick. And when things are going for it, they're going for it. And he flicked straight into his path and he knocked it in. They're going to take some pegging back this season. He's good, Klopp, isn't he? He's bloody good, isn't he?
He's classy, isn't he?
He's better than good, by the way. He is such a brilliant manager. He's unbelievable. Yeah, very, very, very good.
He's the sort of manager that it'd probably drive you mad if you were playing against him, because he can get a little bit rated on the touchline, but you'd want to play for him, wouldn't you? Because you can see at the end he hugs the player.
Yeah, but you see he gets a bit on the touchline. I mean, I know it's sometimes annoying, but if you're a Liverpool fan, you must love that. If you're a Liverpool fan, love his passion, love his care and attention to detail and everything else for their football club. That, as a fan, that's what you want on the touchline from your manager.
I'm not even taking a mickey at Al, but when you was a manager on that sideline, can you talk us through what that was like, that emotion?
What do you mean you're not even taking the mickey?
Do you know what he says? I'm not going to take the mickey, but...
You could have just said to him, Micah, what's he like standing on the sideline?
Because I knew you would come up with some ridiculous remark, guys, so I protected you to start at the front end, you know what I mean, Al, and said, go on.
I'm not trying to be funny here, Alan, but fuck off.
The great thing is, Al, you're getting close to my age and then you'll have forgotten it anyway.
Hey, I'm 15 years behind you.
10.
All right, 10. Yeah.
Seriously, the emotion on the touchline.
It's everything goes through you, Micah. It's, you feel everything when you concede. It's like, oh my God, the world's caving in. When you score, it's like, this is just outrageous, the feeling. And yeah, it's very, very special and very, very difficult.
Did you try and hide your emotion, particularly perhaps when you concede? Because sometimes you just want to go,
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I mean, you can't. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, but it's like... honestly, it's like, because I appreciate although I only did it 8 times, but everything that runs through your body is just incredible. The feeling is like immensely proud, because you've got your city or your club on your back. Everything's depending on you and us, the players, but you're making all of the decisions. And of course, the fans, you're never going to get everyone that's going to agree with you, but the feeling's just incredible. It's just staggering. Yeah.
Did you ever fall out with a manager that was just a few yards away? I know it's different then because now they've got the little boxes they're allowed in.
Nah, I wouldn't. But I couldn't. I couldn't do it. I was only been in for 2 months, hadn't I? So I couldn't, as if give it the big one on the touchline.
Well, you did score 261 bloody goals in the Premier League. I'll say you could give it the big one.
What was your gear, Al? Did you go suit and tie?
Suit and tie, yeah.
Oh, why is that not a surprise?
Should have gone
Suit and tie,
tracksuit.
yeah.
You might have won a game or two.
I know, yeah. I did think that when I lost, so I changed tracksuit. And you realise it meant absolutely zilch whether you had a tracksuit or a suit.
But Liverpool's next two games:
Chelsea
at home and Arsenal away.
Ooh.
That's a big couple of weeks coming up for them.
I don't think they'll be too scared of Chelsea at home.
The slight concern for Liverpool, obviously, is they'll be watching the Africa Cup of Nations and Mo Salah getting injured. Look like little tweak of the hamstring. They're talking about the fact that he might be probably back for the quarterfinals. But you know what it's like in these competitions. If they push, Liverpool will be thinking, "Oh, don't push him back too early," won't they? But you know, it's so important to all of those players. They're representing your country. That you know that sometimes he might push it. Let's hope he's okay, because you know we want to see him playing in that tournament. We want to see him playing in the Premier League as well. The other game today, that was sort of very entertaining, actually, wasn't it? The Sheffield United and West Ham game, kind of end-to-end stuff, including Ollie McBurney's penalty in the 103rd minute. That was the latest ever Premier League goal scored.
I heard that. Yeah, that on the stats.
Wow, okay.
Really good stat. Who scored for Sheffield United as well?
Berriton Diaz, Micah, who you said that Aston Villa should sign.
In all honesty, he's not scored in about 23 games or something like that. Last season, he was very good. Went on loan to Villarreal, didn't really work out. But you can see he's a fox in a box, and just something to take the weight off Watkins, I thought would have been nice. But Sheffield United have got him. And I'm telling you, if he's given a chance, he will score your goals.
I wonder why Unai Emery didn't listen to you.
That's a bit hard. West Ham will be gutted though, won't they? Lose a goal that
Did
late.
you think it was a pen?
Can we talk about the decisions? There was some appalling decisions in this game.
Well, I didn't think it was a penalty either. Was it? I mean, he did make the most of it without doubt. I agree with you there. Was it an absolute howler?
Who decides whether it's an absolute howler?
Yeah, but come on, it's ridiculous now. I think.
Well, VAR do actually.
It's annoying now, because us as pundits or whatever, and we see one decision and we say, okay, we can agree what their thinking was behind that, and then the next week is completely different. So there's zero consistency throughout the decision. So when you ask us on Match of the Day, Gary, do you think that was a penalty? Well, I don't know, because the refs are giving one, and another week they're giving another. So I don't know.
It's quite fascinating, the fact that I was following the Real Madrid game today, which was pretty remarkable. They were 2-0 down at home to Almeria, who had only got 7 points all season, I think. They were bottom of the table. There were all sorts of kind of shenanigans and dodgy decisions that went against Almeria. And I saw a tweet from Dale Johnson, who's the kind of... Is it still called a tweet? I think it's just called a post now, isn't it? And he was quoting about how I think it was the Almeria coach was saying something along the lines of VAR in this. It's so bad. It's so far behind the Premier League. And Dale Johnson was saying, I think everybody in their own country thinks their VAR is worse than anywhere else. And I think the fact is that globally,
everyone thinks VAR shit all over the world. Yeah,
everybody thinks it is shit. We had a look at the Real Madrid equaliser to make it 2-2, scored by Vinicius Junior, where he actually whacks it in with his arm. The referee disallowed it, and the VAR told him to go to the monitor, and they overturned it, and they gave a goal. And try and see it somewhere. Look it up on social media.
Now I understand. Is it Almeria? And now I understand his anger and his words, what he said at the end of the game.
Those of us that played over there know that Real Madrid are favoured. They're favoured.
Oh, conspiracy theorist over here. Okay.
Well, I did play for Barcelona, Micah. So that's how we think in Barcelona. That's for sure. Let's have a break. Let's discuss Saturday's games now, and a return to form for Arsenal. A couple of late goals for Martinelli after he came off the bench, and a pretty comfortable 5-0 victory. Very good on set plays. I thought Arsenal had lost, 3 of their 5 previous Premier League games before the winter break. Had a bit of sunshine in Dubai, and it looks like it's done them a bit of good.
They were better, miles better actually, in every single department from the first minute to the last minute in Crystal Palace, who I thought were really woeful. I thought, too strong for them at set pieces, bullied them at set pieces. And then once they got those, it was just a matter of how many they were going to get. So back to winning ways for Arsenal. Palace, dreadful.
I've got an admission to make, Alan. I went to bed early and I fell asleep and a mismatch of the day. What was the thing? What was the thing you did? Odegaard's socks, was it? Micah said earlier. What? I have no idea what that. What do you talk about his socks for?
You're not watching your own shows, Gary. Oh my lord!
He's being poorly, Micah. We'll forgive him.
Come on, I get one Saturday off the season. I'm entitled to one early Saturday night. I couldn't even. I would have gone out if I'd have been well enough.
So what happened was that. Because we had two hours off in the afternoon, we would just watch the game again. And one of the guys said, "Have you seen Odegaard on the side of the edge of the 18-yard box? Whenever they get a corner, whichever side, he's bending down and touching his right leg or his socks, pulling his socks up." And they thought maybe that's the trigger for where the ball's going to go. And I said, maybe his elastic's been snapped at his sock or something like that.
Was this your analysis?
Well, it was part of Ashley's analysis, actually, not mine.
Passing the buck. It wasn't mine.
Hang on, I need to know. What was the answer? Did you think it is a sign for what free kick they're doing?
They put that forward as an alternative or something that may be happening. Ashley didn't say that was the trigger. He said maybe nothing. Maybe we're jumping to conclusions. Maybe we've had too many hours off in the afternoon.
You'd opened a bottle of wine, hadn't you?
Look at the way Odegaard is pulling his socks up.
Oh dear. You know what? I often get people, like, I've got a couple of friends who watch a lot of football, and they go, "Why does the person that's taking the corner always stick his arm up in the air?" And I go, "Well, it's a signal for the corner that they're about to take." And I thought, how can you not know that?
Yeah, what I would say though is they are bloody good at corners, at set pieces. Arsenal, even before Saturday's game, no one had scored more goals from set pieces than Arsenal. So they obviously work at it, and they're obviously very strong at it, because there's so many things, that have to be right to get a set piece or a corner right. The ball, the run, the desire to get on the end of it, all of those things. So, yeah, they're good at it. Very, very good at it.
It's funny because Martinelli came on and he scored the 4th goal, his first. And I nipped to the loo. And I came back and I sat down and I saw the goal again and I thought, it was a good finish. It was a good finish. And then I looked up at the score, it was 5-0. I honestly, genuinely thought it was a replay of his previous goal. I'm getting old.
You're getting old? What do you mean you're getting old? You are old.
I can't wait till you're my age.
And then what happened? A minute later, you went back to the toilet again, did you?
Oh, don't. Oh, God.
Doesn't your carer take care of that? Shouldn't he?
Well,
no.
However good the carer is, if I had a carer, Alan, I don't think they can actually pee for you.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Just tell them to change your pads while you're watching the match.
Oh, God, it's not that far off either, is it, really? But anyway, trouble is brewing at Crystal Palace, isn't it? Fans started to show their frustrations towards the end of the game. There was a huge banner, wasn't there, in the away end that read, I think it was wasted potential on and off the pitch, weak decisions taking us backwards. Now, Palace have won just one of their last 11 Premier League games, 14th in the table. We had, obviously, Steve Parish, their chairman, as as a guest recently when things were going pretty well at that stage. But I mean, they've been in the Premier League a long time now, and sometimes the grass is greener on the other side, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. Fans obviously have the right. They're the ones that pay the money. They go to the games. They're frustrated. But they're 14th in the table. They're not 19th. But I mean, I've got some friends that are Palace fans, and I think they get a bit frustrated, and as we all do with our football team, don't we?
Well, he was brought in last season, wasn't he, to do a job? Last 10 games of the season, and I think when you look at the fixtures, there were favourable fixtures, weren't they? Remember when Vieira got biffed, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then Roy came in, and there were great fixtures, but he did a great job. But all in every department this season, all the stats are down from last season. So you can sort of understand the frustration of the fans. But if you look at the bigger picture in terms of them being a regular in the Premier League. I mean, not
got into any difficulties, no troubles with financial fair play and all the rules, and I think it's probably a well-run club. I mean, and obviously they're limited in terms of the stadium and in terms of revenue. Can they realistically compete with clubs much further above them?
It's always going to be tough, isn't it? Because the Premier League seems to be getting harder every year, especially. We talked about the gap from the top teams to the bottom teams. But I think what the fans are saying is, Hodgson's done a brilliant job, even going and then coming back. And he's got that stability within the club. But now they want to look to the future. And Roy's not going to be there for, 5-10 years.
I hope Roy makes the decision himself. That's what I would like to see.
Of course, it'd be nice. It'd be nice if they just... at the end of the season, if that's what they want to do, and then look to the future.
I think he's a good guy, Steve. I think he will appreciate what Roy is and who he is and what he's achieved, and he will, without doubt, I think, let him make a decision if a decision needs to be made.
Got to talk about Ivan Toney. What a comeback!
But this is honest to God. You would think that the Beatles are coming back or something. I've never seen so much coverage for a player coming back in the whole of as I can remember. It's every day, every single day. Tony's his price is going up. What's he going to be like? He scored a hat-trick in the under-23s game. The Whistler's gone on African nations. What's he going to be like? And it's been a constant. And fair play to him. He stepped up, didn't he? He really did step up. So you've got to give him his credit.
Now, I know that the Forest defending from the free kick was absolutely... hopeless. I mean, it was useless. But his little way, he got some of the referee's paint or whatever it is, the spray, and shifted it and did a white line while they were all not looking, and then moved the ball a foot, which may or may not have made the difference. I mean, I know it's people are saying, oh yeah, but that's cheating and all that. I don't know. I mean, players from forever have put the ball in a slightly different position, have tried to sneak it perhaps a little bit close to the goal. That's always been done, but I've never seen anyone put a little bit of the white spray. It was genius. And then after doing that, because I remember I was watching when he did it, and I thought, Christ, that's clever. And then I thought, cool, if he bends it round the wall now, that'd be amazing. And then he did, and I actually jumped out my chair. I thought, that's absolutely brilliant.
The Forest fans are going to come for you to laughing at their
Forest
team.
Fans always come for me anyway. I'm a Leicester man, you see.
Shouldn't be laughing.
It was skullduggery or tousery or whatever you want to call it. But I have to say it was very, very clever.
All players look to try and gain some sort of advantage, don't they? Whether they've been fouled and then moving the ball further forward, whether they're trying to take another 10 yards from a throw-in, or whether you're trying to move the ball half a yard or a yard further from the the free kick, so you gain that advantage. All footballers do that.
Of course they do. It's the referee's job to see it. And
it's the referee's job and the Forest players.
Exactly. But how many times have you been in a wall, Al? You must have been in a wall. As soon as the referee turns his back, you just take one pace forward, don't you, to get a little bit closer to where the free kick's being taken from. But what I couldn't believe is the last man on the wall, if he looks round, just turns round. Yeah. So you don't have to be a scientist to understand that. If you can turn round and the ball can be curled on the outside of you, all you do is move across.
Move along.
I was like,
absolutely.
Isn't it normally the goalkeeper's job to line up the wall, though, isn't it?
Gary, no. The goalkeeper will have a look to see whether the defenders in the wall have lined the wall up correctly. Now, they can see where the ball is. So, because the goalkeeper can actually get done, if they want to take a quick free kick, if he's lining the wall up sometimes. So that's when it's then the defenders in the wall. It's their job, either the end guy or the one in from the end. It's their job to line up. So they know where the ball is. So it was poor from the Forest players.
Again, I don't understand. So if you're taking a free kick, which Toney is right-footed, you overcompensate. On the other side, they went the other way. I don't understand.
It was mad.
The keeper's got that side covered. That's the whole point. It was madness.
Yeah, it's an important victory for Brentford because they've been struggling of late, and they needed that, and their talisman was back. Not that but it was brilliant. Even when he scored his goal, he's running over to Thomas Frank, isn't he, and all that. It was it was like the big homecoming, wasn't it? Or 8 months out of football. I know people say, well, you shouldn't joke because he broke the rules and all this and stuff. I mean, I'm always a little bit wary of the gambling and the punishments for footballers for gambling when gambling is all over. Loads of football clubs have got gambling sponsors.
It's on their shirts. It's on the Brentford shirts.
Exactly. And then you go, well, hang on a minute. There's some double standards here. But rules are rules. Players know that. He broke them. He was punished. Fair enough. He's come back. It's not, it's not crime of the century, but he was punished. He came back, and the interesting thing now will be the next couple of weeks, and whether he looked very happy when he scored, and at Brentford, and the way he's been treated, and the love.
He did say in an interview, though, didn't he, pre the game, that he would like to play for a bigger club, or if a bigger club came in, didn't he? So.
Well, at least he was honest. What is he, 28, 29? Of course, I mean, with all due respect here, all players want to play for one of the giants, don't they?
He's a player, though, isn't he? The way I love it. His hold-up play is what not surprised me, but I'm looking at him thinking he gets hold of everything, links it up nicely. We won't say he's the quickest, but he's a strong enough runner. Always gets in the right position, great in the air, and he can finish. So, yeah, he's got the lot. Fair play to him.
I really rate him. I think he's an exceptional footballer. I think he's really good, and he's something a little bit different as well. And he'll score goals anywhere.
He would.
I'd be very surprised if perhaps I would think the Brentford fans would love to see him stay until the end of the season. Even if it's a gesture, and then I think they'd all say, and I saw a lot of them say this, and I thought it was fair enough. Give us to the end of the season, and then yes, go and play for a big club because you deserve it at that. Let's switch to the Championship briefly. Big game. I say tomorrow, but we're doing this on Sunday night, so it's actually. When you hear us, it will be tonight. Big game at, I nearly said Filbert Street then, at the King Power. Leicester against Ipswich, third now because Southampton, that's what I wanted to talk about. They're flying. And also Leeds, good result for them.
Last minute, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was a really entertaining game, and it was quite passionate and feisty, and Leeds. I kept thinking Leeds are going to nick this. And they did at the end. As for Southampton, what about them? 3-1 win at Swansea sets a new club record of 21 games without defeat. They're now second. They've had an incredible run. Russell Martin Could be a manager to watch. I think he started, was it Milton Keynes? He certainly went to Swansea. I think he was the first manager there to win 2 derbies against Cardiff in one season, I think, in about 100 odd years or something. They play real possession-based football. And I think they've got a lad on loan from Man City, Micah. Taylor Harwood Bellis. Have you seen him at all?
Harwood Bellis, yes. He was on loan.
He was at Burnley, yeah, with Vincent, yeah.
Burnley, yes. Him was at the back and he was brilliant there. And I thought he might actually get a move to the Premier League, a Premier League loan, to be honest. But yeah, he's a quality player, centre half. And yeah, it's good to see him doing well, because it's difficult for a young player to play centre half when there's so much responsibility on him. But he's thriving. He'll be a very good Premier League player one day.
You've got Leicester. You've got Southampton now 1 and 2, and Leeds not far behind. You know, there's got the parachute thing, haven't you, which is vital. Makes a big difference. Is it a bit unfair on the rest of the teams in the Championship? And also, I suppose the thing is, when you've been relegated like those 3 clubs, it's vital that you bounce back quickly, isn't it?
Well, they do because of the situation of being relegated, and you have to invest when you come up. Otherwise, you're basically going to go straight back down. At least you can have a bit of a try. Yeah. So, in terms of the parachute payment, that's what it's there for, to try and help you over the next 3 years they get paid for. So, yeah, I mean, it's a huge advantage for those clubs, which is why we see a lot go down and sort of come back up.
I'm just hoping Leicester make it back up. I mean, they're going really well. They're playing great football.
We've never heard you talk about Leicester so much. You're really enjoying being top of that league and winning game after game. Yeah, are you sure you want to come up?
I was just thinking, you know what? I want to win the league, win a trophy, and then have the choice of whether you can stay up or go up, should say, or stay where you are. It's actually it's food for thought, isn't it? Because you do win a lot of games. The only trouble is, and because I don't live in Leicester now, and so I don't get to see as many games. They're not on telly quite as much as they were. And obviously, when I was doing Match of the Day, I'd see them every Saturday. If they weren't playing on Saturday, they'd be on telly on a Sunday or even a Monday night or a Friday night. So you see all the games, and that's the difference. You don't see all the matches anymore. But in terms of like the stress, it's been really quite enjoyable so far. But even now, you know what it's like as a football fan, don't you? Obviously, they're miles clear. They're going really well. They're playing great football. They've got a squad that, frankly, is better than Championship level squad. They've got so many good players. I know they lost a few players in the summer, but overall, if you look at the quality, they've got a lot of Premier League players, and they've got a big squad that will cope with a few injuries and also losing players like they've done to the Africa Cup of Nations. So, but you know what it's like when you're a football fan. You always think, "Oh, crikey! If we lose to Ipswich, then everyone's getting a little bit closer, and it'll all get a bit tense." So, I'm thinking, as long as they don't lose against Ipswich, I'll be pretty confident.
He was on radio today, wasn't he? I heard you with Colin Murray.
We did about half an hour on Leicester, my favourite subject.
Yeah, it was nice.
I want to finish with Germany, because Germany's gone quite interesting, because Bayern Munich have won the league for about 18,000 years on the bounce. Obviously, Harry Kane's gone there, and he's been absolutely brilliant. I think he equalled Robert Lewandowski's record for the halfway stage of a season, even though I didn't know that was such a thing, that kind of record. But Bayer Leverkusen, my goodness me, they were behind in the game that they played at Leipzig, which was a tough one away from home, and 91st minute winner after being behind twice in that game. Now they are unbeaten this season, 15 wins and 3 draws. Obviously, Bayern Munich are out the cup, and I hate to say this, but Harry's gone there. And
he's jinx! He's a jinx!
You can't call it. I mean,
it's like you, Alan. Self-accolades, isn't it? All about you. He'll break all the records.
Can you imagine if he doesn't win the title of Bayern Munich? Oh my
He will.
7 points behind.
7 points. I think they've got one game in hand. But the way Bayern Leverkusen, Xavi Alonso,
Unbelievable.
Incredible.
What a manager he's proven to be already. I mean, he seems to have something. So many good Spanish coaches, and I think they all come from that little area, one of those Basque towns. There's quite a few of them from the same place. And
What a job he's doing, eh? Incredible.
Have you seen him in training as well online, on the clips online? So the usual sort of cross and shoot exercise. Yeah. Uh-huh. And he's just zinging 40-yard balls just out to the winger. And he looks like he still could play. He's in great shape. He's just, I would love to play under a manager like that. He's just got everything. Oozes class.
Have you seen much of Florian Wirtz? 20-year-old German. He plays quite high up wide on the left-hand side. He is going to be a player, I'm telling you. I've seen him play a few times now, and he's got so much talent. I really like him. Yeah, I think he's played quite about 10, maybe 18 games, something like that for the German national side already, and he's only 20. He looks a little bit special to me. Certainly one to look out for in the Euros this summer, as well as the rest of this particular season.
Micah's already recommended him to Aston Villa.
And then he'll claim in about 6 months' time, I told you about it, didn't I? On that note, we'll call it a day. That's all we've got time for on The Rest is Football. We'll be back on Wednesday with your question and answer episode. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to sign up to our completely free newsletter. Just go to therestisfootball.com. You can submit your questions for us to answer through the newsletter, and we'll get through as many as we can on the next episode. We'll see you soon. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Have a good week.